Black mother, is it too late for Black mothers to unlearn, to relearn? That's our, pretty much our whole motto for our community. The ones that want it, because like I said, everybody, it's like a ship. Everybody can't get on. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And everybody don't want to get on. Some people gonna want to die, stay on the land. That's just our people. But for the mothers that's really willing and able, and they can recognize the generational trauma, the generational pattern, the generational curse and cycle, how can they unlearn their pain so that they don't, so before it becomes their children's, especially their sons and daughters' identity?
I think it comes down to anything that you want to change about yourself. Are you willing to do the work?
Mm.
Are you willing to be trained? Like we talked about training and how that's so sensitive, whatever.
Right.
But a lot of y'all been trained to be poor parents.
Mm.
A lot of you been trained to be poor human beings in terms of social skills, and you justify it in whatever ways that you justify it. And I'm only talking about people that fit the behavior. I'm not talking about every single person. But like, it's like anything when it comes down to training. You're not going to change your body if you don't change your diet.
Mm.
You're not going to change your proximity for safety by going into dangerous environments. You can't wear the shortest skirt and the tallest heel in the most dangerous environment and then be shocked when something happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't have the least amount of resources and think you can make the rules.
Mm.
So you've only gotten to where you are right now based on your individual thinking. So now it's going to take somebody else's game plan,
Mm.
and you're going to have to shut up, and you're going to have to stop tone policing. You're going to have to stop talking about the way somebody said something to you instead of just doing the damn thing that was said.
Right.
You can talk about therapy all you want to, because people like to default there. And I don't have nothing against therapy, but a lot of people quit at therapy. They think they've survived. They think they've won because they decided to go to therapy or even just say it.
Right.
But you have to graduate from therapy because you have to apply it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stay in college all your life, right?
Got to get to the workforce.
You got to get to the workforce and apply what you learned in school.
Right.
You got to have the experience of going around, because a lot of people think they healed because they don't get upset, but a lot of times they just haven't been triggered. So if you ain't been tested, then it don't matter.
Right.
So I think you have to get to the point where, are you willing to put some distance between you and the people that validate how far you've gotten? Because you just might be the smartest person around all of the dummies that you know. And you think because you smarter than, the 4 or 5 people that you got, that you the best thing smoking. You know what I'm saying? And it's just not true. It's a lack of objectivity. The world is bigger than what you understand. It's just like last month, Iran was all in the news, right?
Mm-hmm.
US and all of that stuff, and people talking about foreign policy conversations, and then you ask them to find Iran on the map, and they can't even find it.
Right.
So a lot of people are talking about things that are well above their level of understanding, and if you don't change your activities, you don't improve in general in anything. So if you're doing the same old thing and expecting a new outcome, that's the definition of insanity too.
Right.
Stop being insane.
Finally, what needs to happen? What needs to shift so that we stop producing these low-level learners, these broken sons and broken daughters, and start raising whole human beings, whole communities?
What needs to happen?
Mm-hmm.
I think you just got to leave people to their own devices.
Mm-hmm.
And because that kind of goes back to the question you had previously, about changing.
Right.
And I think in order for change to take place, there needs to be a conversation like this. Number one, subscribe to Beyond the Algorithm. You know what I'm saying? That's first and foremost. That's the step one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to go get the book Accountable Masculinity. That's step 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know what I'm saying, you need to hit up the super chat and book a consultation. That's part of it as well. But like, I think you got to let people run their course. If people have to get tired of their own thing, they have to wake up and be tired of you.
Right.
You have to. Are you tired of you yet? That's the part you have to decide. Or if you feel like you've reached the best version of yourself, then by all means keep doing whatever it is you're doing, and stay out of other people's way. But if you find yourself constantly dealing with some burden or obligation that nobody asked you to do, but you volunteered, and then get mad at the lack of support that you get for that, you need to deal with the people pleaser that's in you, because you're trying to please people that can't even do anything for you. You got to stop supporting people that can't help you, because you don't have no help.
Right.
Y'all just suffering and being victims with each other, and then, you know what I'm saying, and then drinking tea and talking about it.
Absolutely.
That's what I think. You know, I think that you have to look at somebody that's doing better than you. I think, you know, I did a video one time where this lady was talking about red pill and manosphere content ended her relationship. And one of her talking points was that this guy was saying, she said that the guy was trying to get her to watch Kevin Samuels, and she didn't appreciate that. And then she stopped and said, you shouldn't be paying attention to you shouldn't be paying attention to Kevin Samuels because you don't do the things that Kevin Samuels does or whatever. And I think that that's a huge disservice, because people have to model themselves after somebody that's being successful anyway, in some kind of way, shape, or form.
Right.
And then, so what I took from that video is that there's probably a lot of women that don't think that they can be better than what they are, so they don't try to be better than what they pay attention to. They know at a minimum that they can go put the same costume on that the other girls are wearing, because they got a similar shape, they got a similar bone structure, they got enough hair, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But all that stuff is just a costume, you know? If you want to change your character, it takes a real journey.
Absolutely.
It takes being told that you suck sometimes. It takes being told that you're not good enough to do this. You need to work harder. That's it in life, bro. It's just you want profound outcomes. You want to live presidential, but you don't want to make executive decisions yourself. I don't get it, you know. And I know why. It's because they haven't challenged themselves.
Right.
And truthfully, everything that I'm describing is really teetering a line where you're almost telling people that they're purposeless. But you get to determine what your purpose is. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know what it is, it's the thing that you're really good at that you would do for free, that you're probably doing for free right now. So that doesn't need anybody else's approval, that benefits other people. Like, you have to be of service to other people to be valuable. Think about that. When you ask people what their value is, they say, I'm valuable, I'm a 10. I'm like, well, who are you valuable to? Right. Because if you're only valuable to yourself and you're only valuable to your children, then nobody else is looking for you. You know, I talk about it in rule number 1, you know what I'm saying, for accountable masculinity is, you know, men focus on themselves, because nobody picks up the phone and calls useless men. So who are you useful to? I think step 1 is become useful to somebody else other than your kids, because get some mentors that are not related to you. Women, too many times and too often, their only mentors are the women in their family. And they don't have no women outside their families, because generally speaking, most women don't trust each other.
What did I say? All my friends are men.
Yeah, exactly. You know, yeah, exactly.
All my friends are men. I don't get along with females.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You know, so and there's nothing, to me, there's nothing wrong with that if it's done, you know what I'm saying, if it's postured the right way.
Right.
But like, it should be no transactional relationships. You should be looking for something transformative.
Mm-hmm.
You need to learn the difference between that. You need to get around people that you can learn from and not compete with.
Right.
Learning from is one thing, because like I said, in decentralized leadership, and rule number 3 was like, you must be capable of being mentored as well as being able to mentor, because you
Right.
have to give it back. See, teaching is a privilege. A lot of people know a lot of things, but
Mm-hmm.
not many of that group of people know how to teach what they're talking about and what they know.
Right.
Think about how big of a gift that actually is. That's how minute it is to separate it. So you have to put yourself in the chair as a student, and then you have to stand up and give it back as a teacher, and then you have to somehow, in between those two, you learn a different type of empathy and respectful communication. You become of service, you become useful, you become effective, you leave impact. Your legacy is not about the children that you create, because you can raise a bunch of dope dealers, prostitutes, and killers and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Your legacy is your impact. That's why, like, every day you can see some video footage of Farrakhan or Malcolm X, or at any given point in the time in life, and their words still have the same type of dramatic impact. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We talking about during the time when these guys didn't have the internet.
Mm.
So we got even less of an excuse. You got people that's getting paid to just talk
Mm-hmm.
about lives that they don't even live.
Right.
Cheyenne Bryant was on there talking about, I think I tagged you in that.
Mm-hmm.
She on here talking about like, she didn't question Nick Cannon, Cam Newton was the biggest one, and here she is, a career bust down side chick.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Older side chick that's got a man 9 years younger than her. And
Mm-hmm.
she the only reason I know this because she said it.
Right.
You see how immature that conversation is for a 42-year-old woman? It's just
Absolutely.
crazy. So she can't help nobody. She's
Mm-hmm.
busy helping herself. That's why, like, when you need to depend on people younger than you, it's because you're a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
You're the very person that you're talking about and campaigning against because you're an expert.
Right.
And when you live in victimhood, being a narcissist is very easy.
Definitely.
It's easy to trick other people to believe that they're just as victimized and marginalized as you. And so you can have the illusion of you can let the quantity of everybody else that's thinking just like you validate you, or you can separate and be, what I'm saying, you can only be the chosen one unless you choose to.
Right.
So most people don't want to even choose themselves.
Mm.
They rather choose the public admiration. You know what I'm saying? So just like you chose to be sharp and you sat down with all your data and your statistics, and you know what I'm saying, bold enough to step out in front of this and have this conversation, this is unique for most women.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Because you a terrorist to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear it every day. I hear it every day, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. I've always been okay with being standing by myself. Always, I was taught.
Yeah.
I was trained to be that way.
It's
I
trained to
was
be that
trained
way.
by my parents to always
Yes.
stand alone. I think it's a little bit, having to do with I'm the older sister, I'm the firstborn, I'm the boss. Period. Like, I don't care. My siblings, they never made me waver in anything that they followed me and always looked up to me. So I take that, like, with so much pride and joy, and I'm not gonna side. A pick me is fine. I don't mind that term, because I know that God picked me to do this work. You know what I mean? And it takes a special person, especially a special Black woman, to be able to go against the grain and not want to be a part of that fake sisterhood. I do have female friends. I'm very close to my sisters. Aside from that, you know what I mean? You're gonna learn from me. You're not gonna lead me astray. I'm gonna lead you to, you know what I mean, to your kingdom, to your peace.
Yeah, you know what's crazy though? Well, you know what's crazy? They call you a pick me, but you could really take what you just said and say, well, yeah, God picked me first.
Absolutely.
So I'm meant to be chosen, but to do something.
Absolutely.
everybody ain't picked to do something, man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
some of us are meant to go out as a representation of what not to do.
Right.
Remember a couple years ago, those people decided they were gonna go float down to the bottom and go see the Titanic.
Absolutely.
Not now, you know what I'm saying? They part of the ecosystem in the ocean. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
We you don't have to go do something stupid to know that you don't benefit from it.
Absolutely. The
We could
crate
just watch it.
challenge. The crate
Great
challenge.
challenge. Like everything that's got challenge behind it is usually something dumb. It's
Absolutely.
unhealthy competition, man. Like when you think about social media and its impact, it it was just a more honest reveal about how people think the world works.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, like not how the world works, how people think the world works.
Mm-hmm.
Markedly different. That's the reason why when I came up with the definitions for sexually undisciplined, right?
Right.
And there's a discipline and undisciplined. You give a phone to people like us, we looking at numbers, data, statistics, we're learning, we're
Right.
using it to enhance something that we're already good at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you take the same phone and you give it to the undisciplined version of me and you,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere twerking online, making money on, you know what I'm saying, on adult sites. You know?
Yes, absolutely. Um, I have a video actually on my page on TikTok where, and so many people like, it was split, but it was actually a video of several mothers going live humiliating their black daughters. I have one on sons too. I always try to keep it fair, keep it equal for both.
Humiliation king.
Absolutely, and the same woman that don't want to use the phone to pick up and call SOS to the dad is the same woman that picks it up to humiliate her children. You know what I mean? It's
That's
just
cold.
it's not right. And I had to do this, when this opportunity was presented, like I can't say no because there are like a lot of voices speaking up, but not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because the voices that speaking up gotta be louder than a dysfunction. It has
Yep.
to be louder than a toxicity and louder than the cooning and the shucking and jiving. You know what I mean? Louder than the condoning, louder than the justifying.
Yep.
Of course, louder than sweeping it under the rug. That's the whole thing is to get our community back. We have to first get our families back in order. People want to talk about the funds and the money and the funny and you know what I mean, building the generational wealth. But how is anything more richer than a family? How is anything? You can't even create the wealth if you don't have a solid foundation. The wealth is in your children and your legacy and what you produce, and it's really not the money that we should be chasing. It's the the black family. You know what I mean? Because black love is a revolutionary act. Despite and in spite of everything we've been through, to choose to intentionally raise your children through thick and thin, like you said, not perfection, but a man that's able to redeem himself. You have to also be a woman that's able to redeem herself as well, and not always blame and not always put your emotions on a man, and not always feel that your man can't check you. Because if your man tells you about yourself, now you're not cooking, you're not cleaning, you're not yucking and yucking, you not, you know what I mean. Now you on strike because you got told about yourself. We have to be bigger than the program, like you said. And if you intentionally continue to bring children here, you already own the program, so you might as well be bigger than it, or else you're gonna keep producing children that's not productive. You know what I mean?
It's I'm telling you, the whole culture is the culture of America is human trafficking.
Mm,
It began with people leaving oppression, religious oppression,
right,
traveling across the Atlantic and moving natives out of their settlements and out of their land and putting them on the worst soil, you know what I'm saying, that they used to own,
right,
and then going to go get more people to work the land, which was Africans,
right,
and the prison population is human trafficking.
right.
Um, all of this stuff that comes underneath there's a lot of tiers to what I'm saying. Like you
Mm-hmm.
got
Absolutely.
population control is part of human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's where your abortion clinics come in. You know,
Right.
you deleting your sons either in the street or either in the sheets.
Mm-hmm.
So And then the boys you got left, you effeminizing them, and then you complaining about the lack of masculine men
Come on.
because you don't want to be told. You tell black men we need black men to step up, but don't step like that. We need
Right,
black men to
right.
speak up, but don't say that. Stop tone
Mhm.
policing us. Stop
You
tone
gonna
policing.
take everything that comes with it, or you gonna continue to get the results that you've been getting?
Yep.
Because one thing black men don't do is not hurt your feelings. It's gonna hurt because they
Yeah.
keep it so real. Like you said, a lot of black men have already been shamed to change. Like even if, like you said, prison stories. Been
Man,
shamed so bad to change, and we haven't gotten that opportunity. You know.
well, well, here's the thing though. They can listen to their favorite artists say some vile, vulgar, you know what I'm saying? Whatever words you want to use to describe it, now it's just entertainment. But when we
Right.
talking and I use the same language and I'm raw dogging your emotions, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Now I'm a bad person. But
Right.
you was just listening to somebody, you was just listening to some drill music.
Right. Absolutely.
It's so crazy that it's more emotionally violent to have a conversation about it where people are more comfortable with eating ass than talking about solving problems.
Mm, mm, mm.
That's an icebreaker conversation before they even get to know somebody's name. You eat ass?
Right. Man, you're not lying. You're not lying.
Yeah, but the minute I say you raised without a father and that's why you act that way, hey man, you know, or
Right.
some other token response that people feel comfortable typing on a keyboard that they would never say to you in public, you know.
Absolutely.
But that's how on his head the circumstances really are, so when it come down to, like you talked about, everybody can't go right.
Hmm.
It goes down to when I talk about the separation between the disciplined and the undisciplined. We cannot bring the undisciplined people with us that just gonna shoot holes in the boat.
Right.
Let them stay wherever they are. Let them build their own escape. Let them figure that out. Like it was people that get off a plantation and run away, and they would come back every now and then to see, hey, I know how to get you out of here. And
Hmm.
some people just want a shadier spot on the plantation. I believe that the projects is the new sundown town. So don't nobody want to say it.
Mm, mm, mm.
Because you don't want to be in the projects after dark.
Even when Harriet Tubman said, I freed 1,000 slaves. I would have freed 1,000 more if they only knew they were slaves. And that's our people's condition in 2025. Like
Mm-hmm.
you said, I don't see no lies with it. Like you said, we have become so used to being the victim, so coddled in being the victim. We don't get, our equity. So we want to stay wrapped in that blanket of woe is me. And our communities have definitely become the new sundown towns. It's
Yeah.
certain areas in our country where they don't they don't have no respect for your mama no more, your grandmother, your children. They don't care. It's dog eat dog. That's how mindless you guys are raising these children. How reckless, how emotionless, how devoid of feelings. That's what you're raising. Somebody that can take somebody's elder that been there for 80 years. Some of these grandmothers and grandfathers have battled cancer, have lost their own children, have lost spouses, living 80 years of life only to be deleted by your child.
Mm.
It's
Over,
sickening. You know what I mean?
over
No
nothing too.
respect.
You
Over
you
nothing.
you know, I got I had a conversation with another content creator. He brought up a very good point that just hit me. A lot of the reason why we are where we are, because like, yeah, we talk about the nuances of what we think, but how did we get here, right? And even before welfare, COINTELPRO, and everything else, let's go back further than that, right? The era of the shotgun wedding. All right, folks. Appreciate you sticking with me to the end. This has been another episode of Beyond the Algorithm. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Go get the book. And most importantly, I will see you beyond the algorithm, because that's where life actually happens.